Hello, everyone. Good evening and welcome. In 2 more minutes, we will start the masterclass. So please, all right. Okay. Good evening again, everyone, and welcome to the Data Storytelling Masterclass. If you know anyone who is supposed to be on this call, if you'd like to share this with your friends, other persons interested in data, please share the joining link with them and we'll get started real soon. This masterclass is brought to you by Propel, which is a platform that is supercharging tech communities by providing jobs, embedded finance, and access to opportunities. Towards the end of the call, we'll talk a bit more about Propel and also share a link for you to sign up and join a community on Propel. But for now, we are talking about the data storytelling masterclass. So just before we get started, please tell us in the chat where you are joining in from and what you expect to gain at the end of the masterclass today. Let's put that in the chat. So it's going to be a really engaging activity, a really interactive session. Um, I and the speaker are not the only ones who are going to be speaking, who are going to be talking. You're also going to be doing your own bit in the chat. So please, just before we get started, share your name and where you're joining in from. Can anyone hear me? Great. Hi, Sam. Welcome. Samuel. Yes. Welcome, Samuel. All right. So while others are dropping theirs, we'll get started to have the speaker introduction. Hi, Flora. Hi, Peace. Hi, Julius. Hi, Afolabi. Welcome and thank you for joining quite on time. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for inputting all your responses in the chat. We'll go ahead to start the masterclass now. Like I mentioned earlier, this masterclass is brought to you by Propel. We have masterclasses for diverse persons in different niches, for persons interested in software development, design, data, and there are so many other tech niches, right? But this time, this masterclass is going to be focused on data storytelling. And we have a very interesting speaker who will be walking us through the masterclass today. And his name is Adewale. Hi, Wale, can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can. Thank you. All
Uh,
right.
so it's always exciting to attend the Propel event. Good to see you and thanks for the invite. Good, what are
Thank
we?
you.
Yeah. Good afternoon,
Yes, so
everyone.
oh, sorry. I'll do a little bit of introduction and then you can get started.
Yeah, that works.
Great. Awesome. So Wale is a data evangelist, CEO and founder of Zacrack, which is a data and analytics company that provides market research, business intelligence, and customer feedback analytics. He holds a degree in computer science, business administration, and a master's in data science through a fully funded scholarship by the Swedish Institute. I want to believe that many persons are reacting and clapping or putting something in the chats to appreciate our speaker today. So Wale is passionate about helping individuals and organizations make better decisions using data, and he has also been privileged to speak about it at various events, both locally and internationally. And it is such a pleasure to have him speak to us today. Today's masterclass on data storytelling is designed to help everyone interested in data, everyone interested in looking to transform raw data into compelling narratives. Great to see the responses and the reactions. And with that, we'll get started now. Hi, Wally, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm happy to be here. And so, just announce to you guys that I really, really, really love data. I love data. I love data. I love data a lot. Data is exciting, So, this masterclass is about data storytelling. How do you unlock insights from your numbers? How do you unlock insights, And I'm going to be teaching you very practical things that you can do that is going to take you from just churning out number. You know that thing that we do, dashboard, reports and the like. How do you actually turn data to stories? How do you turn stories to insights? How do you use data to drive change, which can mean different things, right? Might be a new product, might be to drive revenue, to drive growth, da da da. Data people are very, very critical in organizations, and our primary work, wherever we work, right, is a decision support system. That's the basic thing that we do. Either you're a data and anything data, analysis, data science, we are simply decision support system. But if we don't know how to tell stories and bring out insight from our data, we are not helping the stakeholders that we should help. So that's what this whole conversation is about. So my name is Wale again. I've spent the last 10 years of my life helping companies collect, analyze, and use data to grow. And look, data is mind blowing. I'm the founder of Zackrack, like she has rightly said. We're a data analytics company. We do everything that has to do with collection, data analytics, strategy, and everything around that. So let's get to it, guys. Can you confirm you can see my screen? Can you see my screen? Can anyone see my screen? Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, thanks. So I'll talk to you briefly about contextual thinking and storytelling for data professional. Guys, please pay attention to this thing. It's going to take you from whatever level you are, right, of impact you are making in your organization to like the next 5 steps. Contextual thinking and storytelling for data professional. I'll tell you something, guys. When it comes to storytelling, especially within the domain of data and everything that we are doing, context is everything. If you remove context from storytelling, you don't have a story, especially as far as data is concerned, right? In storytelling, in data storytelling, context is everything. Just stay with me. Guys, can you see this? What comes to you? Do you know this guy? Do you know this guy? If you know this guy, just say something in the group. Who is this guy? Do you know this guy? Tell me his name on the chat quickly. Prince Williams. Okay, so this is Prince William, a future king of England. Their royal family is probably one of the most influential royal families in the world. Queen Elizabeth's son, that's who this guy is. So he's the future king of England. Do you expect this thing that he's doing, what does it mean? Can anybody say it in the chat? What does it mean? Do you expect this from a Prince Williams? Please, just let's make this very snappy because no, you don't. Okay. What comes to your mind when you see this? So this is this picture, right? This is one context. Let me take you to the next slide and let's see. How about this? How about now? Has anything changed? It's the same picture, guys. Has anything changed? It's the same picture. Guys, please, has anything changed? Guys, please be interactive so we can move fast. Can you see my screen? For whatever reason, I'm not seeing. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, look at the first picture. Look at the second picture. It's the same picture exactly. The same data in our context, right? The same analysis. Everything is the same. The only thing that is different now is context. This is the power of context in data storytelling. Please. So just stay with me. Now, just look at this slide. Now, beyond data and analytics, what really matters to our stakeholders, to the business manager, to the marketing manager, to the head of products, to the head of sales and revenue, to the engineering lead, to the customer success person that we are supporting. Remember, I told you that we data people, we are decision support system. Look, what really, really matters to those we are supporting, to our stakeholders, to our client. Trust me, it is not data. Trust me, it is not analytics. Data is a raw material. Analytics is what we do. What our clients and stuff, what they need is insights, not data, not analytics. Analytics is what we bring. Data is what we gather, we generate. What our stakeholders really need, what they pay us to do, why they are hiring us is because of this first thing, insights. The next thing they are getting us to, do for them or bring is more insights. Then they need much more insight. Why? Because they want to make decision and they need insight to make decision. We usually erroneously tell people, oh, data can do this, data can do that. Oh, yes, data can do it. But data is raw material. What can really do what we promise that data is doing is insight, right? Because they need this insight because they need to make decision. They need to back up, their decision with something, or they need to validate an hypothesis. They want to test something, and that is what we do. So the raw data cannot help them. What's going to help them is the insights that we can bring from that data. But how do we bring insight from data without storytelling? It's very, very, very impossible. But there's a problem, guys. We data people, we have a very big problem. One, we mislead our stakeholders, even though our analysis, our processes and stuff, they are correct. So you've done all the magic, your SQL, your Python, your Power BI, your Excel, you've done all of those things, right? And you're feeling yourself, right? But that's just for you. As far as your stakeholders are concerned, if you can't give them insights, you are simply misleading them. Another problem is that, look, we struggle to make simple things, to make our analysis simple and drive home the point. So we are dumping this very big technical jargon, a lot of numbers and math and, and stuff. It doesn't help our stakeholders, right? And we usually make one error, which I call error due to generalization. I've talked about it briefly. This is a very big problem that if you can solve this, you're going to move your data storytelling game from C or D or F. You're going to move it to an A. Just stay with me. Look at this picture. Please look at this picture, guys. Is there anything wrong with this inference? The inference is that one banana is equal to 6 cubes of sugar. Is there anything wrong with this? We are going to find out. Look at this next one. Now, this is data. Please look at this. This is Google's revenue for 2019, 2020, 2021. This is some kind of data. So imagine you are doing a competition analysis for a tech company and you're saying, oh, in 2019, Google made 162 billion. In 2021, 81. 2020 to 2021, look at the gap, 257. What is wrong with this kind of analysis? Of course, you can see like a design and everything there. So you have infographics and you are submitting this, but you are not helping your stakeholders, or you are not helping them as much as you should help them. Please don't forget this image. We are coming back to it. And don't forget this Google revenue. Guys, we are coming back. How about Apple? Look at this, guys. This is Apple's revenue for 2021. They made 362 billion. 52% came from iPhone. 190 billion was made from iPhone, and they sold 230 million iPhones in 2021. This is usually the result of analysis. So we've gathered our data, we've done analysis, and we're presenting this to stakeholders that, hey, Apple made 362 billion in 2021. 52% of this money came from iPhone. What are you trying to say? You're trying to, in quotes, tell your stakeholders how significant iPhone is to Apple and how big Apple as a company is. But can you see that this number is not doing justice to it? When we get to that slide, you're going to see it, that even though you have your analysis like this, the 365 billion is obviously a lot of money. But trust me, even you, the analyst, you don't know how big this 365 billion is until you had storytelling. Look at this data or look at this result of an analysis. I'm going to show you another one with stories embedded in it. Then you are going to judge. Which of them is more impactful? Which of them is more insightful? Which of them is going to help your stakeholders the most? You're telling your stakeholders, like we usually do, hey, 52% of Apple revenue came from iPhone. Oh, Apple made 190 billion from iPhone. Oh, last year Apple sold 230 million iPhones, and stuff. These numbers are big, but mentally, they are not as insightful as you should make them to be, especially when you want to help stakeholders make decisions. Now, guys, what is contextual storytelling? I want to define it, and I want to make it very simple for you guys to understand because we only have 20 minutes. Remember, I've shown you some analysis. Don't forget Prince William that is giving like this sign, the F word, that stuff. Same picture. Don't forget, like, this is the same picture from another angle, from another context, right? And both of them, they have two different meanings. Not just that they have two different meanings, they have two different parallel opposing meaning as far as this person now is concerned. Also, do not forget the banana illustration. Don't forget the apple illustration. And don't forget, the Google illustration. Now, let's get into the main business of today. What exactly is contextual storytelling? It's very simple. I can write a whole book on this stuff, but I'm going to make it straight to the point. It's the use of elements like events, like places, like objects, like numbers, like things, right? To tell story about your analysis. Remember, contextual thinking is what we call storytelling. There's no storytelling without context. As a data analyst, your work is to help your stakeholders make decisions. Unfortunately, your stakeholders don't remember numbers. They remember story. You don't get a lot of insight from numbers. You get more insight from stories. So I want to teach you how to tell stories with your data or with your analysis. And I'm introducing what I call contextual thinking or contextual storytelling. What this is all about is simple. It's the use of elements like events, like places, like objects, like numbers, like things, wrapping them around, your analysis, right? That's what it's all about. Now, remember all the analysis that we have done. We are going to bring it back. This time around, we are going to have the context, right, that I talk about. Then me and you, we are going to judge again. Can we go on? Say something in the comment. Say something in the comment. Let's see. Yes. If you are following me, great. Now, let's add context to our banana case. Remember, this is the banana, right? You just did your analysis. Your data has shown you that, one tuber of banana contains 6 cubes of sugar. After you've done your analysis, you reported your findings just like this. And when they even probe you, said that's what the data is saying. You know what we data people do now? The moment we are tackled a little bit, we just hide under the data. That's what the data is saying, right? Look at this. What is wrong with this inference? I will tell you a lot of things that are wrong. Are you trying to say that if one tuber of banana is equal to 6 cubes of sugar, eating 10 tubers of banana equals 60 cubes of sugar? Is that what you're trying to say? Sometimes this is what the numeric data is going to say. This is just an example. The data is telling you that this equals to this. Storytelling is your ability to now contextualize it. It's the ability for you to think, for you to humanize it, for you to probe it, for you to be critical, for you to settle down and just look at the data, look at the results and think. So if my data is telling me that one tuber of banana, again, I don't know if banana is called tuber, by the way. I don't know the name. That's why I use tuber. Now, if one tuber of banana is 6 cubes of sugar, does it mean when I eat a bunch of banana that has like 10 tubers, I've taken 60 cubes of sugar? Is that what it means? Does it make sense? Do you believe it? You're starting to create a story around it. You're starting to get the attention of your stakeholders. You're starting to look for insights from that data. I'm going to leave this as an open-ended question. I'm not saying your analysis is wrong. I'm not saying 10 tubers is not equal to 60 cubes. I'm trying to teach you how to storylize the results of your analysis, because basically that's what this thing means. If this guy that is peeled is equal to 6 cubes of sugar, then it means the whole bunch of 10 is equal to 60 cubes of sugar. Imagine I'm making a presentation to you, and my case is that I want you guys to stop eating banana. And I just come from this angle and say, oh, from our analysis, I can tell you that 1 tuber of banana is 6 cubes of sugar. That's what my data says. Yes, I've made a point. What if I come forward and now say, guys, do you know a bunch of banana is like 60 cubes of sugar? Who is going to hear 60 cubes of sugar and not going to like sit upright? Like, do you know what 60 cubes of sugar, St. Louis sugar, is all about? What does it look like? Imagine you grind 60 cubes of sugar. Now imagine you make a presentation to your stakeholder and just open with a banger that one bunch of banana is equal to 60 cubes of sugar. You've added story to it. You've added context to it. You've moved from just number, arbitrary, one banana equals to 6 cubes. You've added an extra layer to it, something they can relate to it, something that is going to get them to start thinking that, are you serious? Are you lying? Do you believe it? Is it true? Your results, your work as a data analyst should make impacts. Now, the second thing, on the flip side, the inference we made, is it a fallacy? That is your work to think. Because when you say 1 tuber of banana is equal to 6 cubes of sugar, as a data analyst that wants to improve on storytelling, your next question should be, are all banana tubers of the same size? If they are not of the same size, do they contain the same equivalence in cubes of sugar? These are ways to wrap all of these things around your data. Stop doing today is Monday, so tomorrow is Tuesday. Your audience, sometimes they know. Stop saying that, okay, 1 tuber equals to this, just like that. Add story to it. By the time you add story to it, your case, the decision you are trying to help your stakeholders to make, they will be able to make more accurate and impactful, decision. Now, that's the case of banana. You can see how it was when you just reported your data and see how impactful it is when you added context. Are you saying one bunch is 60 cubes of sugar? Everybody's going to open their eyes like, you mean I took banana yesterday and I took 60 cubes of sugar? Trust me, they will act on that data. Now, let's go to Apple. You're trying to explain how big, no, Google rather. You're trying to explain how big Google is. And you said, look, in 2021, Google made 257 billion. Yes, we know it's a lot of money, but really, who has seen 1 billion before, not to even talk of 257? How do I make my stakeholders to stand up when they see Google's revenue? I'm going to contextualize that revenue to something they can relate with. If my stakeholders are Nigerian, let's say they are government people, decision makers, and something like that, right? I will contextualize it and turn it into a story. And this is how I will do it. I will say, hey, Google's revenue was 257 billion last year. In the same last year, the whole of Nigeria, we made 400 billion. What does it mean? It means that Google, one company, made 63% of what Nigeria made. Everybody will stand up. Because Google is one company. Nigeria is a whole nation. And all of us, me, you, your daddy, your mommy, your uncle, all of us, all the work we did in that year is 407. So Google almost made the same thing that Nigeria made. That has added some story to it, but that's not all. Check the next slide. I now come back and say, hey, this Google that made 63% of what Nigeria made, Google only has 150,000 employees, but Nigeria has 200 million people. What does it mean? 150,000 people, which is just 0.08% of our population, they made 68% of what. I'm adding context to it. Right now, you're starting to see how big Google is. And you are now wondering, so Google is even making more than the whole Nigeria in a year, like 200 million people and 150,000 people. So the money that 150,000 people are making as a company, right? Versus the money 200 million people are making. Look at the gap. If I want to add another layer to it, if one company in America is making this much, then how big is America's economy versus Nigeria economy? Where were we coming from this singular data point? Are you following, guys? Are you following me? Great. So instead of just reporting Google's data revenue and you think that's going to make impact, no, it's stories that will make impact. Adding context to it, I've contextualized Google's revenue in line with Nigeria economy that my stakeholders can relate with. Not only did I do that, I went further to say that Google is just 150,000 people. We were 200 million people. Are we even productive as a nation? Is it not better off for Google to buy us? Those are the kind of things that will make your stakeholder to start clapping and probably even give you a promotion. That's that about that. Now, this is the last one. How big is Apple? That's the question we want to ask, right? How big? Now, you've done your analysis, and the only number metric that you can use to qualify the bigness of a company is revenue. Don't forget, most times it's revenue. You now went to do your analysis, and when you're back, you now say Google is very big, Apple is very big, rather, very, very big. Those guys have money. Okay, how big? You said 365 billion. That was what they made in 2021. Okay, your stakeholders say, yes, that's a lot of money, but our brain cannot process it. Why? Because this is a very large number. Human beings don't do well with numbers. As a data analyst, you have a superpower. You do well with numbers, but you have to come down to their level. Otherwise, they will think you are not doing any work. So you are saying Apple made 365 billion, and they are saying, hey, that's a lot. You are not getting that thing that you want to get. What do? Add story to it, add context to it. Let me add some context to it and let's see. Apple making 365 billion, what does it mean? In 2022, the whole of Nigeria's budget is 23 billion. Like the whole of Nigeria, 200 million people, our education, our healthcare, our security, transportation, everything like Nigeria. Out of this 23 billion, we even borrowed though. All the money we borrowed, everything is 23 billion. But only Apple made 365 billion. What does it mean? It means Apple's revenue in 1 year can fund our budget for 15 years. Guys, I'm asking you again, how big do you think Apple is? Now, imagine you reported that number by just saying, oh, Apple made 365 billion. Apple is very big. Versus you adding context and story to it. And you are saying that, look, Apple's revenue in 1 year is going to fund Nigeria for 15 years. So one Apple is going to fund all our budget for 15 years. Guys, I'm asking you again, how big is Apple? The last example. Now, you reported that Apple sold 230 iPhones. What if I want to turn this to story? This is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that what Apple did is phenomenal. What Apple did is unbelievable. And I'm just saying, can you imagine selling 230 million of a product? Your brain cannot process how large 230 million is. But if I add story to it, your brain will start to like really see how much, 230 million is. Now look at Lagos. Who knows Lagos? The biggest, most populous nation, in Africa, where like everywhere you turn to, you see crowd, you see traffic. Let's say Lagos is 15 million, the whole of Lagos. The meaning of Apple making 230, selling 230 million iPhones, it means that everybody in Lagos bought 15 iPhones. Can you imagine that? If you add this to your presentation, for instance, all your stakeholders, they will sit up like, Lagos, everybody in Lagos bought 15 iPhones. You will start to respect that number. You will start to see the insights from, oh, Apple sold 230 million iPhones. This is how data analysts report their stuff. And it's very boring. It doesn't drive change. It doesn't drive impact. When you have stories to it, that guys, like Lagos is a lot. Everybody in Nigeria will agree. Like the population of Lagos, there's crowd everywhere. You now tell them that, do you know that the meaning of Apple selling 230 million iPhone, what it means practically is that everybody in Lagos bought iPhone. That layer alone will get them to sit up, that everybody in Lagos bought an iPhone. People will be like, one, iPhone is expensive. They know. Two, Lagos is so populous. Three, they will now be looking at the magic that Apple did. How did you get people in the whole of Lagos to buy iPhone. You know, after that's not even the news. The news is that each of these persons bought 15 iPhone. Trust me, now they will respect the number 230 million iPhone. It just added story to it. It just added context to it. People can really relate with numbers. People can relate with things around there, things they know already. In your simultaneous equation, you're always moving from either you're looking for Y or X. You're moving from somewhere to somewhere. Now, the last two slides to go. I will ask you this question again. How big do you think Apple is? From their revenue alone, you don't know how big they are. You just know they made 356 billion and you know it's a big lot of money. Think about this. Just look at this slide. In the same year, Twitter made 5 billion. Snapchat made 4 billion. Tesla, TikTok made 61 billion. Tesla made 53. WhatsApp, Instagram. You see all these big companies that you know. By the time we sum up their revenue, all of them together, they made 181 billion. For Apple alone, made $356 billion. All these companies put together, right? You know all these companies, you know they are big. In fact, Elon Musk, the richest man, own like two of this company. The next guy, Mark Zuckerberg, own two of this company, right? So you know these companies are big. But when you are saying Apple is big, people don't really get how big it is until you start to contextualize. When I tell you that by the time you had Twitter, you had Snapchat, you had TikTok, Tesla, WhatsApp, Instagram, when you had them together, they are not even up to 50% of Apple. Guys, how big do you think Apple is? And how big will you judge Apple? With story and without story. Storytelling is simple. Contextual thinking is simple. You can't tell powerful stories without context. By the time you have context to it, you weave things into. As a data person, you have to be vast. You have to know how to come down from your high horse or your technical gym. That's yours. That's your business. Your stakeholders don't care. They don't care if you use Python or Excel or SQL. They want insights. Insight a lot of time doesn't come from number. You have to weave that insight around storytelling. Now, this is how to tell powerful stories. So my final note, when next you are interpreting your findings, guys, put it into context and let's see the magic that will happen. Use events, objects, and items that your audience can relate with. If I'm making the same presentation to another audience, I will change all my examples. If I'm making this to healthcare people, I will use the same presentation, the same data, but I will use different context. So use things, objects, events, numbers, things that your audience can relate with. Yes, guys, I know the data is the data. That is what we hide under when we can't bring out meaningful insights. Just that's what the data is saying. It's not my stuff. I only analyzed, right? But you are human. So guys, please use your brain. The data is the data, but you are the person torturing the data. So use your brain, bring out insight, add context to it. The final thing is, guys, be critical of everything. Be critical of your data, be critical of your methodology, be critical of your results. That's the only way you can bring insights. That's the only way you can formulate stories, around everything that you've done. So the final slide again is a thank you. Thank you very much for listening to my rant. My name is Wale. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere, with this handle. So thank you so much, guys. That will be all from me.
Hi, Wale. Thank you so much for this session. This has been really interesting. I think one of the key things that stood out for me was how you used examples, and this really drives home the point of storytelling, core storytelling. Thank you so much. So before we wrap up, we're going to take a few questions. To just a few questions to see what people think or observations. And someone's hand is up. Abasia Keme Michael. I'm going to ask you to unmute in case you have a question since your hand is up.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Wale, for the powerful session. And I have a question, which is you're teaching us contextual storytelling and thinking. I do like to imagine that if I'm working as a data analyst for a company, that some of my stakeholders will not like, maybe they just want me to tell them what's up, how did our sales do, what happened and what did not happen. They don't want me to go on about how Apple is big. And I know this is largely contextual. I'm going to use events that are relative to the situation. But what if they are not really interested in all of that? They just want me to tell them this is this or this is that.
Yeah, very brilliant question. Thank you. At the end of the day, at the core of contextual thinking is the context. The context includes your audience, your stakeholder, their educational level, etc. And the most important thing, what is the most critical business problem that they are trying to solve with your work? There are times they won't care, that they just want you to do reporting. Tell us our numbers, tell us this, tell us that. That's fine. The same stakeholders, the same organization, imagine at the beginning of the year when they want to make projection and strategy for the year, like for the new year. The same audience that wanted to just tell me the number, maybe quarterly report or monthly report. The same audience at the start of the year, they want strategy, they want insights, they want you to blow their mind. Don't just tell them last year we made $30 million. This year we can make $40 million. Context is everything. Your stakeholders, who they are, what they are trying to solve, the business problem. And look, the smartest data analysts, they know when to be what. They know when to just say number. Hey, number is, oh, today is Monday, so tomorrow is Tuesday. That's straight to the point. Last month we made 20 million. This month we made 21 million. Straight to the point, right? Knowing when to switch. I did something very short for a company today. They are trying to do like their revenue, blah, blah, blah. And I asked for a single data point, which is give us your sales data for the last 6 months and give us your salary bond for the last 6 months. They sent both of them. They are in a loss. And instead of just telling them, okay, this number is this and this number is that, that's period. I told them this number is this, your revenue is lower than your expenditure. If you continue like this by December, you would have been in loss of about 500 million. The extra context I had, it got them to like, wait, it's not just that we are losing now. You are telling us by December we would have lost 500 million. Immediately, the product manager said 500 million will build us another software. You mean we are going to lose a potential new product? So just knowing when to be what, I think that's like the balance. When they want reporting, number, give them. When the business problem requires insights, know what to do. Do you get?
Hi, Abasia Kemed. Was your question answered?
Yes, it was. I couldn't unmute. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're going to have two more people to ask questions. Adelani, I hope I got that right. I'm going to ask you to unmute now.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Please,
Yes, hi, we can hear you.
can you hear me? Okay,
Yeah, we can
I'm
hear you. Please
Propel.
go on. Go on, please.
All right. So I want to ask, as a UI UX designer, I'm a UI
Mm.
UX designer. So how best do you think I can present my data, when during user research, either qualitative or quantitative, right? How best do you think you can present your data to stakeholder to for decision making, and also when you want to go into a very large project, how best do you think you can present the data? Thank you.
Yeah, how best? The answer will always still be context. One, what kind of product are you building? Two, who are your stakeholders? Do you have your product owner? Do you have your CEO? Do you have your CTO? What's their level of understanding of your field? What do I mean? So you're a product, you are a UX designer. A developer is saying, just tell me what to do, let me write the code, correct? Our best is still to like add context depending on your kind of product. I'll give you an example with Parrot. Again, please, Don't just take my answer, also learn how I'm answering your questions. I'm giving you examples. Nothing beat example. People don't remember everything you say, but they remember the examples you cite more than what you even say. So I'll give you an example. When we're building Parrot, when we launched, so Parrot is the customer reviews platform that we built. When we launched the first version, I acted as the product manager. Why? Because I just needed us to build some data insight into the product. That's by the way. We showed the first version to our potential users and we took their feedback. And one thing was key. They said the homepage looked more like an e-commerce website than a customer reviews and social commerce platform. That was key because we are not doing e-commerce. We are doing pure customer reviews and feedback data where you can go to and give reviews, where brands can come to and get customer feedback. I took that data and I took it back to the UI UX design guys, the engineering guys, the marketing guys. And the way I presented is that, hey, based on this data, in the next 2 years, people are going to describe Parrot as another Konga. We are going to be competing with Konga, Jumia, and Amazon. We don't stand a chance. I laid that background before I even told them we need to change this interface. So that was qualitative data. I contextualize it that if my users are seeing this thing as an e-commerce product, this is what it means on the long run. Sometimes you have to go to the future to tell your story. You can't tell the story now. So I told them in 2 years' time, we'll be battling with Konga, we'll be battling with Amazon, we'll be battling with Jumia. And I told them how Konga and Jumia have been unprofitable, how they've blown, hundreds of millions of dollars, how their investors are pulling out, all the problems with payment on delivery, how people order stuff and they don't pay back. They don't pay when they come to deliver, etc. and stuff. I magnify the problem. Then I came back and I told them we don't want to be in this mess. Apart from that, that's not even our vision. We want to build a customer reviews and feedback product, a data product. By the time I painted that picture, nobody could argue. What that thing meant is that the UI UX guy have to go and do like UI designer, so they have to go and redo their whole mood board, the whole design, everything. What does it mean? It means the engineering team has to reprogram, rewrite the code. But guess what? Everybody did it happily because I didn't just take the data and dump it on them and say, oh, 5 out of 10 users said this thing look like e-commerce, so we have to change it. Remember, your work as a data analyst or anybody working with data, you are a decision support system. There's a decision either you want them to make or that they need to make. Your work is to support that decision. Does that answer your question, guys?
Yes,
I
sir.
don't.
Yes,
Hi,
sir. Thank you
Adelani.
very much.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
Okay.
All right, great. So we have one more person. Um, Let me see if I can find him. So call me, I think. I've asked you to unmute.
Afternoon.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Eh, Sir, my question is, though I'm new to this data analyst stuff, but with your teaching this afternoon, I think I've learned some things. But my question is, this storytelling, is it during the presentation that you will include the storytelling, or when when you are when you are preparing your data that you will include the storytelling? That is just my question.
Okay, so when you are preparing your data, there's no story because data is your raw material. The next stage after getting your data is analyzing your data. That's still not when you put story. It comes when you are
Okay.
presenting, but presenting is also relative. We always take presentation as standing in front of a crowd, virtually or physically, talk about our work. You report you are writing. Now, data guys, please listen to this. I've worked in this industry for like 10 years. I've led projects locally, foreign, different stuff. Please drop the idea of you don't like writing reports. It's crap. It's never going to help us because our work is not for us. Most time the deliverable of your analytics and whatever you've done, it's a report. So if the stakeholders are not going to give you the opportunity to make a presentation, you have to include or infuse storytelling into that report that your team or that you are delivering to them. You won't just, I've read hundreds of reports. You just reported everything that you've done. 50% are male, 40% are female. So therefore, a large percentage of them are female. Your stakeholder is not dumb now. If 60% is female, 40% is male, you telling me that, okay, a large proportion of them are female, what have you done? I know 60 is greater than 40 now. That's not insightful. You just copy and pasted, okay, from your whatever thing you used to do your analysis, and you put it in a report. So right from your reporting, you have to infuse story into it in case you don't get an opportunity to do a physical or a virtual presentation. If you are doing a virtual presentation, oh, even more beautiful. Don't just prepare slide that you'll be reading for. Figure 1 says that this. They can see figure 1. Figure 1 says 60%, figure 2 says 40. They can see it. I'm assuming your stakeholders are not, like, in quotes, dumb. So it's an opportunity for you to shine. I believe I'm talking to people that want to build career, prosperous career in data. This is what really takes you far. So if all you are doing is just, okay, report the number, they are better off outsourcing that project to a freelancer and just getting the raw thing, and that's it. So storytelling comes at the point where you are reporting yourself, either like the report or when you are doing presentation, or both. The best is both. The best data storytellers are people that can send you a slide and they don't have to be there, and the slide will make sense. Please, do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Okay, I like
Um,
the reaction in the comments. Critical thinking is the most difficult. That is it. When you tell data people that Excel is not data analysis, Python is not data analysis, that you know how to use Python, using AutoCAD, does it make you an architect? No. The real data analysis, like when you are really doing your work, is critical thinking. You have to be able to sit down with your stuff and think and translate these analysis to insights. Nokia, they died. Why? They lacked insight. They had the data that consumers were moving from just a phone for calling. They had it that people now want a camera, they wanted to listen to music, they wanted to this. They had the data, but not the insights, and they died. Apple had the same data. They did iPod. When they realized that people wanted music, camera in the same place, the same Apple killed the iPod by themselves and bundled everything together. So yes, critical thinking, that is your real work, guys.
all right. Thank you so much for making time to answer all of the questions that we've had on the call so far. It's great to see that others are also dropping their thanks and dropping things that they've learned from the session today. Thank you. Thank you so much, Adewale.
Come.
Oh, I muted myself. Oh, that was a mistake. Okay, so just as we wrap up, you can please follow him on LinkedIn to read more about data and to learn a few other things he has to share. Okay, we have one more slot, just one more last slot for a question. Adebayo.
Hello,
Hi,
hello, can you hear me?
Advocate. Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Adewale, for that session. Like, I'm not a data analyst, but I'm a content creator and I tell story too. So I'm just like, how can we, as a content creator, a lot of things involving content creation, like strategy, marketing, and the others. And at the same time, now involving data analysis. I'm like, how can you help us? I mean, is there a way we can do it, like to gather data? Because it is really essential when we are telling story, talking data, people want to like find out or make a findings about what you are saying. So what are those things? Is there a way you can just help us? What are maybe a tool to just gather information fast or make our concrete findings about data? How can you help a
Yes,
content creator in this context? In this,
I understand you. Again, data people on this call, like I want you guys to feel very, very proud. I really love data. I say it a lot, and I'm very proud that I'm in data. You know why? Data is everywhere. It's applicable everywhere. Everything we do is data. Data is a whole desk profession. The moment you tell about your siblings that, oh, that's the way she behaves, you just analyze historical data about that person and you arrived at a conclusion. So in content creation, in music, Don Jazzy, their record label, they hired a data analyst recently on Twitter, right? It went viral on Twitter and stuff. As a content creator, I don't see how you can succeed without data. How can you gather that data, the tools? A lot of time, we don't even need tools. We focus too much on tools. Honestly speaking, data analytics or data generally, I think it's a profession, a way of life first, before the whole tooling thing. The first thing you need to do as is that you need to have a data mindset. Your audience, how are they engaging with your audience? What time of the day? Who are your target audience? So I've noticed that my post on Twitter, right, it does like way better in the evening because my posts are usually directed to specific people. So if I'm saying marketing Twitter, for instance, these people are at work. In the evening, they are off work. They are scrolling. They are in the bus. They are in the boat. They are going home. They just got home. They are being social media, something like that. That simple insight is data. A lot of time we don't need the gang like heavy stuff. I thought I can come and tell you some very crazy stuff. Start with that. Are they engaging on your content? Are they sharing your content? You need to be able to think about those metrics. If they are sharing your content, if they are engaging, and stuff. I have a YouTube channel that has nothing to do with data, by the way. But one thing I can tell you is that data has helped me to make a lot of money from there. Because now I'm looking at my audience. What's the average watch time? Okay, a 30 minutes video, they're only watching it for 5 minutes. What could be wrong? Maybe the hook is not that strong. So I tweak the hook. Retention goes up. I post a new video. How many of these people are coming back from people that have subscribed earlier? When I see that number, I say, okay, if I start posting this kind of content, my foreign subscribers will watch more. So I think you should start with that, right? Then again, ask yourself this question and answer. Who exactly are you creating content for? Once you know that person, what's their behavior? I'll give you a very good example. Everybody on this call knows Portable, right? If you know Portable, just react on the group. You all know Portable. Okay, if you know Portable, say something. I don't want to give example you can't relate with. Portable. If you know Portable, please. All right, great. Okay, you know him, pink hair, lovely. Now, Portable is an artist. Portable appeals to a certain demographic. Portable sings a certain kind of song. Everything around Portable wraps around three things. One, coming from the street, like from the ghetto, and rising to like get some things for yourself, right? An underdog kind of stuff. One, everything around him also comes around having street OT. When you have those basic data, I'll be surprised to see somebody that grew up in Maitama, Asokoro, or Lekki, or VGC, that schooled in probably Preston or schooled in the UK from primary school and abroad. I'll be surprised to see that person vibing to Portable. So that data, your ability to define who your audience, then what to feed them with. The moment you are doing that, guy, you're already using data. I don't have to tell you to go and do some Power BI stuff. You don't even have that volume of data to start using tools. So start from there. The last thing I will tell you is that most of the platforms, they have analytics embedded in it. Most of your platforms. And the reason I also said data is everywhere. At the end of the year, Spotify, not Spotify. Again, data people, you might want to check out Spotify. Is a very good visualization to one of the best in the world. At the end of the year, Spotify will give you your top songs. They will give you all of these things, right? It means They also have some analytics. YouTube and co will tell you number of likes. They have analytics. If you are using like a fitness app, so everybody has analytics. Use the dashboard on those platforms. If you need to pay for premium, pay for premium. It's not going to be a lot, and they will charge you in naira. So that is how I think you can use data into your content creation. The final thing to you as is, data is stubborn. You can't do anything against data. If your data is telling you that your audience are not engaging, please listen to the data. So hopefully I've answered your question.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, with that, I think we've taken all of the questions. Thank you so much again, Wale, for taking time to share all of these insights, for showing us clearly what impact storytelling makes with data. Thank you so much. And thank you as well to everyone who has joined and stayed up to this time. This shows that you really want to learn, and I hope that you would run with what you've been able to learn today. And also feel free to share this on socials. You can follow us on LinkedIn, on X, and on Instagram. I'll just drop the handle here. We are at with Propel on all social media platforms. Also, a link to sign up on Propel has been dropped in the chat. Sign up and join a community if you're interested in data. There are data communities on Propel. If you have other interests as well and you are on the call, you would find other communities that match your interests. Sign up and join a community to gain access to jobs and opportunities, and even more master classes like this that would make available. The slides will be shared and the recording as well. You would have access to that. Yes. All right. Thank you so much again, everyone. Thank you, Ali. Have a lovely evening.
All right, guys. I wish you all the best. Let's catch up on social media if we can.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Thank you.